The Saturn system's Cassini mission has won the hearts of many people worldwide. The globe. It was not just an amazing engineering achievement, but also had lofty goals. It was an entirely successful operation that produced some of the most breathtaking photos that we have ever witnessed in space. It sent back an astounding 635 gigabytes of data throughout its 13 years circling Saturn, from which over 4,000 scientific publications have been released. 6 brand new moons were found. It has been shown that ice moons have liquid, salty oceans beneath their surfaces that may likely include to be livable. A probe was planted on Titan. It observed the strange storms of Saturn, and it covered more than 7 billion kilometers during that time. It was one of the finest things ever, in my opinion, and presumably in many of yours as well. Missions in history. I've previously covered a lot of the Cassini expedition in other movies, but one issue in particular deserves special attention. The pictures it took close to the end of its mission, just before it detonated upon entering Saturn's atmosphere. Although some of these final photographs are amazing, keep in mind that Cassini is not real-time video recording. Nevertheless, they are definitely worth examining. You're watching KYC News, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We'll talk about the conclusion. Photos taken by Cassini. Cassini performed in what was known as the grand finale, the mission's concluding phase. Some of the riskiest maneuvers of the entire expedition. Cassini was placed into an eccentric, elliptical orbit above the planet's poles by the mission controllers, and intrepidly through the ring's gaps. It had never been closer to the surface of Saturn until the last several orbits, providing researchers a fresh viewpoint on Saturn. The first time lapse we'll examine begins on September 8, 2017, just 1 week earlier. The mission's conclusion for Cassini. Enceladus, one of the moons that Cassini focused on most during its journey, the most likely planets in the solar system to have life in an ocean below the surface. From this ocean, Cassini saw more than 100 water plumes bursting through the moon's surface. Water that freezes in the conditions of space has created the stunning E-ring around Saturn. It is possible that this ring, which is exceedingly flimsy and only discernible when backlit by the sun, represents the solar system's bluest naturally existing item. Here is a fantastic illustration of Enceladus' impact on the densest portion of the E-ring. See the ring being disturbed and being refilled by the plumes. This amazing time-lapse shows Cassini's last view of the Enceladus plumes. Approximately 14 hours in total. When Cassini was taken on September 11th, it was almost at the furthest point of its final orbit. This gorgeous mosaic in daylight. The heaviest rings of Saturn, D, C, B, A, and F, are visible, along with a brief shadow of Saturn thrown over them. Summer was in progress in Saturn's northern hemisphere at this time, therefore the renowned hexagonal storm on Saturn is clearly visible. In daylight, you can almost make out Saturn's faint bands. But what's really intriguing about this picture is how dark Saturn's night side appears. Sluggish illumination. This results from light refracting off the rings, i.e., Saturn's hemisphere's evenings. Avoid getting too dark when facing the sun. Saturn is completely dark beneath the ring light. On September 12th, as Cassini reapproached Saturn, it captured photos of near Saturn's terminator line, the atmosphere of the planet. Despite the sun being low in the sky, enormous cloud shapes can be seen, casting long, distance-spanning shadows. You may assume that this is a close-up of Saturn, yet we are actually viewing a scenario about 5,500 kilometers in size. Titan, a moon of Saturn, might easily fit in this picture. As it approached Saturn, Cassini got closer and closer. It took one final look at Daphnis, a shepherd moon keeping the lights on September 13th. An in-check ring. There are tremors in the ring due to Daphnis gravity, and some of you observant readers will take note of the moon's front and back rippling. The orbital velocities of the rings and moon are to blame for this. As a result of the inner ring's faster orbit than Daphnis, the moon is exposed to the waves. Additional ring material to the gravity of the moon. However, because the outer ring moves more slowly than Daphnis, the ripples are delayed. After the moon, the ripples are already present by the time the ring material returns to Daphnis on each side. Rounded off. The Saturn system was explored by Cassini one last time on the same day. It got a picture of Titan, a moon it spent a lot of time on during its mission. A planet whose nitrogen atmosphere is dense. Additionally, it looked at Saturn's rings, the irregular F ring being just discernible at the bottom. The picture. And over a 40-minute span, as Saturn became larger, it gave Enceladus one final glance before it slipped behind the limb of Saturn and vanished from view. The last photo Cassini ever took was a view of the area it would crash into. The environment. Saturn is illuminated by light reflected from its rings because it was nighttime when I was there. Photos were not on the science agenda for the final day. Despite their beauty, they consume a lot of precious bandwidth, thus researchers wanted to find a way to, prior to the spacecraft being destroyed, to collect every piece of data in real time. Being the first time we had ever examined Saturn, this was a rare chance. At first contact with Saturn's atmosphere, Cassini was moving at a speed of 123,000 kilometers per hour. To hold Cassini's antenna in place, its thrusters released the remaining fuel. Directed at Earth, Cassini was 1,900 kilometers above Saturn's clouds at this time. These thrusters started firing at their highest rate a minute later to prevent Cassini from spinning. Beyond control, Saturn's atmosphere, which Cassini was directly sampling, was also heating the spacecraft up. After only 10 seconds, the rockets failed, and Cassini started to fall, cutting out of contact with Earth. At this moment, Cassini's onboard computers would have been attempting to determine what was not right. The computer would be informed that it is spinning by gyroscopes and star trackers, and it probably would have tried to rectify itself by switching to a safe mode to divert power. The spaceship would have completely exploded and disappeared a minute later in the atmosphere of Saturn. This was the mission's last phase, and data began to arrive on Earth an hour and a half later. Was regarded as a huge success. Saturn's atmosphere, ionosphere, and other direct measurements by Cassini were captured in data. Studies of the magnetic field and possibly more have shown that dust particles in the atmosphere not been discovered by the data. The Cassini mission just keeps providing, which is what makes it so great. As the data it gathered is being analyzed, new scientific articles and discoveries are continuously being made and checked again. The good news is that missions to the Saturn system will continue. Dragonfly, the lander that Titan will receive, will actually be a drone powered by a radioisotope thermoelectric generator with the objective of flying directly around Titan, sampling different areas of Titan's surface. So there you have it, a peek at Cassini's legacy and at its breathtaking final pictures. Did you know that spaceships communicate using something called the Deep Space Network? With Earth-based mission controllers? There are enormous communication facilities everywhere, thus regardless of orientation, spacecraft like Cassini may transmit data back to Earth. You send and receive data via the internet all the time as well, some of which you might not want unscrupulous individuals to see, such as credit card numbers and personal data. Because of this, you might find NordVPN interesting. In order for you to complete a transaction, NordVPN will provide double encryption for your data. You can safely browse the internet at a coffee shop or airport. Additionally, NordVPN is accessible everywhere in the world, including in China, and it permits up to 6 concurrent. Consequently, you and your family can continue to use Netflix or Amazon Prime with their limitless bandwidth. You can use the library while traveling, and you can feel secure that you are safeguarded. Use the promo code ASTROM and the website address https://nordvpn.org/astrom when checking out. Additionally, you may save 70% on their 3-year plan and receive a bonus month for free. Check out the descriptions linked to the NordVPN YouTube channel for further information. Thank you for viewing. And a sincere thank you to everyone who helps support this channel in any form. If you're interested, Astrom merchandise is now available. To receive a 15% discount, locate the link in the summary and enter the promotional code ALIBUD discount through June 30th. Hope you enjoy it. Best wishes, and I'll see you later.